Solving literal equations. In this video, we want to take a look at something that we call literal equations. And what that means is basically we're going to take equations that have several different variables, and we're going to solve them for one specific variable. So to do that, what we want is we want to find the indicated formula for each figure here. Then we're going to write a new formula by solving for the variable that's not given. Like in this trapezoid here, the not given variable is h. And then we're going to use that formula to find the value of the variable. All right, well, let's try it out. So, we got a trapezoid. Well, the area of a trapezoid is given by the formula A equals 1/2 B1 plus B2 times h. Okay? So there's other forms of this, but this is kind of the most common. So we want to solve this for h. Now, when we do that, just pretend that B1 and B2 and A are just numbers. Assume we know them. In fact, in this example here, we know that, and we're going to use that in a few minutes. But let's not plug these in right now. Let's see if we can get a new formula that says h equals. All right, well, let's start off by trying to get rid of the 1/2. How can we get rid of that 1/2? Well, we can divide by 1/2, but whenever you have a fraction, a good way to get rid of a fraction is to multiply by 2. Put a little 2 in here. Going to multiply that side by 2, going to multiply this side by 2. And then we have 2 times 1/2, which is 1. And 2 times 1/2 just gives us that 1, and we end up with 1 times B1 plus B2 times h. And over here we have 2a. Oops. 2a. All right. Now we got to get this B1 and B2 out of there. Now notice that's being multiplied by h. You might be tempted to distribute here, but let's stay away from that. If we just kind of cover up this whole thing here, something like this. All right? We have that big ugly mess times h. All right? So if we wanted to, if this was like 5 times h or something like that. So we have 5 times h. Let's see if we can get that to show up. Then we would multiply both sides, or we would divide both sides by 5, right? If we had whatever number here times h, we're going to divide by that number. Okay, well, let's back up a couple steps. So keep in mind that B1 plus B2 is that's just a number, okay? Whatever B1 plus B2 is worth. And so let's go ahead and divide by that number. Let's divide by B1 plus B2. And we're going to do it to both sides. B1 plus B2. And on the right side, these numbers are just going to cancel out. B1 plus B2. And what we're left with is h. On the left side, we have 2a over B1 plus B2. And there you have it. We now have a formula for the height. If you have a trapezoid, you know the area, the base 1 and base 2, plug them in and you'll get the height. So let's try that out using the numbers that we have. We know that the height is 2 times the area plus base 1 plus base 2. All right, well, what is the height in this problem? The height is 63. 2 times 63 all over 8, which is base 1 up here, and base 2 is 10. 8 plus 10. And that's going to give us 126 over 18. And that gives us exactly 7. And the units here are all centimeters. So this height is going to be in centimeters. Okay, so that's the idea. We found a formula, we plugged in the numbers that were given, and now we have the height. All right, let's try some more. Now we're going to do the same thing for these guys. We're going to start out with a formula and try to solve it for the missing variable. Okay, so let's start off here. We got the circumference of the circle. Well, the circumference of a circle is C equals 2 pi r. Okay, now why don't you pause the video and see if you can solve this for r, because that's the variable we don't know, and then plug in the circumference and figure out what r exactly is. So get a formula and then plug it in. Try that out. All right, so hopefully you tried that out, and let's see. We want to solve this for r, so this is 2 pi times r, so we want to get that 2 pi out of there. Remember, pi is just a number, 3.14, so 2 pi is really about 6.28. So we're going to divide by that 2 pi, and that's going to cancel out here on both these cases, so that 2 pi is gone and that 2 pi is gone, and we have our new formula that says r equals the circumference divided by 2 pi. There's our new formula, all solved for one variable. Well, what is our circumference? Our circumference is 24 pi. So we plug it in, and we say r equals 24 pi all over 2 pi. Okay, and these pi's are going to cancel out here, and they're gone. They make 1, and 24 divided by 2 is just 12. And in this case, our units are feet. All right, how about the volume of a rectangular prism? Okay, we know volume equals area of the base times the height. So we use capital B. Let's see here, volume equals area of the base times the height. The capital B represents the area of the base. So we want to solve this for h. Your turn. Take this, solve it for h, and then plug in the numbers to get the actual value for this particular problem. Pause it and try that out. All right, hopefully you divided this by big B, capital B, and we get a new formula that says the volume divided by the base equals the height. Okay, there's our formula. That's the first step. Next step is to take the numbers we know, 75 for the volume and 15 for the base, and plug them in. So our actual height for this problem is going to be 75 divided by 15, and that's going to go in there 5 times, 5 yards. So it's really easy. One formula, once you find the new formula here, then it's really easy to plug it in and get the answer for that particular problem. All right, one more. How about the volume of a cone? So the formula for the volume of a cone is volume equals 1/3 area of the base times the height. Now pause the video, you try it, plug in, first solve for the height. The height is what we're looking for. So solve for h here, and then plug in the numbers you know to get the exact value of h for this cone. And so in this case, what we want to do is we want to get rid of that 1/3 first. So we're going to do that by multiplying by 3. So let's multiply this side here by 3. And what you do to one side, you got to do the other. 3 times this. 3 times. So we end up with 3v. And the 1/3 times 3 is just 1. Equals area of the base times the height. And then we're going to solve this for h. Let's go ahead and divide. Divide by b, area of the base. And we get 3v over b. And I'm going to put the h over here. Doesn't really matter which side the h is on. We prefer it on the left, but there we go. Okay, so now this is, again, just a magic formula. It's all ready to go, packaged and ready to solve for h. So if you tell me the volume, you tell me the area of the base, I can find h, and so can you. And hopefully you did. So let's plug that in there. So we know that for this problem, the height is 3 times the volume. What is the volume? Well, the volume is 24 pi. So 24 pi. All over the base. And how big is the base? The base is 12 pi. All right. And you know what? Before we multiply here, why don't we go ahead and just cancel? We got pi's here that can cancel. So let's cancel those out. So the pi's make 1. Pi divided by pi is 1. And 12 goes into 12 once. 12 goes into 24 2 times. Remember, this is multiplication in between here. So we're left with 3 times 2 times a 1 that I didn't write, and just a 1 on the bottom. So we have 3 times 2, which is 6. So H equals 6. And we're done. And it's meters. So that's the idea. The whole point being, if we make a formula that takes an original formula and changes it and solves it for another variable, then we have a quick tool for finding that variable. And when you're solving this, remember, you do the same steps you would do if you had a bunch of numbers, but you can't simplify. When you say v divided by b, what is that? I don't know. So we just write it as v divided by b. You can't simplify. You just get another equation that has kind of a big mess on one side. So there you have it, solving literal equations. Good luck.